Are you new to the game, Sunkenland? Well, this video here is for you. We're going to cover some tips, tricks, and little things that are very beginner friendly and can be helpful along the way while playing Sunkenland to get your gaming experience up to that next level. So starting out, one of the best ways to tell which version of the game you are currently loaded in on other than on directly with the Steam page going to be right here on the screen at the very bottom right. You can see Sunkenland Beta 0.5.03 with the Vector 3 Studio logo right beside that. If you're ever wanting to, once you got the game going and stuff, want to know which one that you are on when you're going and play, because some of them do not cross over. After looking on that previous screen, you can come here to your worlds and check out what each world's last log or date for the game was on this screen here. So 1.52, 0.5.02, which will transfer to 0.5.03, 1.52, 2.15, and 0.3.0. Most of these you can even go into your Steam page. So of course, if you're ever interested on how to do that and you're not quite sure how, just a quick little show, you go to the properties tab over here by the game, go to betas, and you can come over here and click between them. So yeah, 0.2, 0.15 for the no beta, 1.1, 0.52 is for both older version, 104, and older version, and then current beta testing is going to be the 0.5 version. So we're going to hop into this. So a couple of big tips, tricks, things to learn with this game, as either you can choose to learn them hands-on. If you are, that's all on you. That's what you want to do. But if you're ever curious and you just loaded into a world and you just got off work, you're not feeling it, and you don't really want to do a whole bunch of like raiding or anything, you just kind of want to mess around, you can always go ahead before coming into the game, as I just did. Once you get here, select your character, and then the world. Whichever world you have selected, you can actually modify that world at any point in time. You can come in here, and you can just totally turn off death penalties. You can turn off, turn off raids completely. You can turn up or turn down enemy difficulty and respawn time and loot respawn just at all points. There's nothing keeping you from doing this. You don't, once you create a world, it's not locked in at this moment. So I am going to completely turn off enemy raids myself, and then yeah, right here you can change around how many enemy garrison. That's the other islands, all the islands you go in to capture, collect resources from and stuff. So they are all held by factions. This right here is going to adjust the amount of maximum enemies on that island, as well as might also change their respawn time. So if you clear an island but don't put a flag down and it's nighttime and the night rolls over into the next day and now it's a new day, there's a chance that you go back to that island because you didn't have the resources to put down the flag that you wanted. There's going to be enemies there. Most likely. It's a gamble. They can respawn anywhere between like 2 enemies to 9 enemies. I want to say it's all just kind of every night they're respawned until they're at that max capacity that you have set here. Anyways, so survival difficulty. This right here is going to be the amount of water and food consumption. Enemy difficulty, same thing with them. It's how it's going to affect their HP, as well as their defensive and their actual, just kind of AI structure, I want to say. This is not anything, by the way, guaranteed by developers. This is all things just after testing around and trying different things that I've experienced and noticed, as well as other people have kind of mentioned in the Discord. So if anything is ever said later on by developers on this being different than as I've stated, that's my take on, hey, I'm sorry, this was just what I've drawn a conclusion of myself. Anyways, so yeah, loot respawning interval in days, it's at 4. So every 4 days, you're gonna have a chance of a percentage of loot respawning on the island. Now, this does not guarantee that whole island you just looted. 4 days later, you go into that island, it's gonna have all of its resources completely respawned. This is just saying in 4 days, there's an X amount of percentage chance of loot respawning on that island. You can go for the max 30, you can go down to 1. This right here, your respawn time, just how long it takes you to be able to respawn back in that bed. Everything else that I have just kind of here, I've never played co-op with anybody, so this is all co-op things. If you want to have that shared research, shared map, shared flag, and all that stuff. Random birthplace, which is not recommended, but once you have the map kind of discovered and you have items, you can choose this to load into a random place rather than keep loading into where you last saved and logged off.
So all of this is modifiable at any point in time. Let's start off with building, because building in this game is kind of one of the bigger things that you want to do. As you build, wood and metal scrap becomes harder to keep hold of than iron ore, in my opinion, because as everything on the tech tree comes up, it's going to start demanding more of the scrap in quantity-wise, and the, well, sometimes wood, but the wood's needed to make the metal ores and stuff, so the wood goes quick. All of it goes quick. But you come in and you just want to kind of try out building things and play around with other aspects rather than the usual rating. What you're going to do is you're going to go in here, and I recommend 100% go ahead and using ores for all of it, especially if it's not something that you're not sure you want to keep, because for each item with the, other than these roofs that I've never used, but for each of these, it's 1 per on everything for an iron ore. Whereas if you look at these, it's about 8, it's 4 metal scrap, 4 metal scrap. So it's about 8 to 4, 3, 4, 6, you know, kind of more variety. But when you destroy these, you're not guaranteed to get that full amount that you used on that wall back. This was something that Cap 1 mentioned to me in one of the past interviews of his base and stuff as we were talking. So with the wood one, it's, you know, wood pillars, just because it's only 3 wood, and wood's not too hard to get, and there is no iron ore pillar. But everything else, he only ever used iron, and after looking at it, it 100% makes sense, because you're getting 1 per 1 guaranteed back ore whenever you go to destroy a structure. So come in, you want to build, and then you realize, oh man, I kind of want to go underwater with this, right? Or I kind of want it to match up with an island. So what you're going to have to do, so you're going to undo the building and start from underwater and trigger it this way. So once you do this, then it becomes an underwater base that you're able to build. And actually, you're able to kind of line it up more with islands if you can do it just right and get it to where it's naturally flat on the ocean surface. So to build underwater, you have to start with the build menu from underwater, okay? And then, further from there, you want to try raids on at one point, right? I'm not saying you do, I'm saying if you want to try a raid point at one point, build up defenses. So these right here is in the 0.5.03 beta. It's not in any of the past ones. This is a completely new option, but it was a defensive structure I wanted to try out. There's a video here you can check out to see just how awesome they were, in my opinion. But so all of these are going to be your defensive structure. Let's say you want to make a huge base that just basically defends itself while you're off doing what you want, and you can stay inside crafting, or you can be out like searching around and stuff, and your base is just 100% guaranteed not to break because you've just defended, you've built up your defensive so well that your house takes care of itself. So if this is kind of what you want, just kind of tip is the only things that really have, from what I've noticed at this point and have, that's really good at that is going to be these mines here. The wall trap is good for early on helping out and such, but it drops once and I think you have to like reload it, or it like takes a minute to re-trigger. I wasn't 100% like impressed with it back in the 0.2.15 version, to be honest, so it's not something that I've ever really used 100% again, just because after some time in game the enemies get harder, they come better equipped with armor and stuff. The longer in game you are, the stronger your enemies are supposed to come to hit you, right? So from what I've experienced, this naval mine here is really great. I have not tried the heavy machine gun, but I want to say you can mount up on it and just go at it, you know, yourself. So there's your range, and this is for melee and stuff. The automatic machine gun turret, from what I saw when Cap 1 used it, it's okay, but it can still take a while, so he found it quicker to still just go and take care of them himself. Hopefully more of this will be implemented further along as the developers are working on this game at who knows how much they actually even sleep with how much they work on this game. So you want food, you need food, and this is a survival game, so 100% you're gonna use up a lot of food with this game. All of these, if you try to just eat them by themselves, it takes a multitude stacks of, you know, just anything really to get them 100% like full. Like that barely gave half a bar-ish, just eating one roasted large fish meat. So what I recommend is this over here. You gotta get this stove as quick as possible, and if you want to know why, it's because of these two right here. Really, the fish stew is just as great. Alcohol just costs 1 bottle of water and a thing of potatoes, and it basically just fully fills up your bar with just one thing. Now, it can also be used for Molotov cocktails, so that's on you if you want to, drink your alcohol in game, or if you want to use it for taking out enemies. If you want to use it for taking out enemies, the good news is there's another one that gives that same buff, which is this one right here, the mushroom bird soup. So this is pretty easy from what I've found to be able to just keep constantly going. If you have a few bird traps set up outside and cotton seeds or bush seeds, and you're able to just really keep it full and keep it going, and birds come in there all the time. It only costs 20. It's not only, because it can feel like a lot of scrap, but I guarantee it's worth it just having 3 set up, 2 or 3, and check it every time after you come in from a raid and you put away your loot. Go and check it real quick. I'm telling you, the amount of birds you catch is absolutely phenomenal. Cook up the meat on a little stove, come over here, add it in with some water and some mushrooms, and you're kind of golden, really, just like that. And not only does it completely fill it up, but it also reduces your hunger and thirst rate. This is the biggest thing, because as you eat, as you saw, I've only been sitting here recording for 30 minutes. And all I did was drink 1 water bottle earlier and eat some fish. But once I ate this right here, now I've got 10 minutes where my hunger and thirst rate is completely reduced. And I am not needing it as badly as I did before. So this is why that stuff is so OP. It's so great. You really need to just go ahead and get that stove down and make up the use of those recipes while they're there and we have them. So you've died somewhere on the world, and you lost your boat because it was somewhere else, and it's going to take forever to get there. You have the death penalty on, so you're not even sure when you're going to make it. 100%. Best thing in the game is going to be this right here. So this little scooter, when you get in the water and press on the trigger, it can get you up to about 160. It's like 158, 160 total of just swim speed. Without it, it's about 60. I'm guessing that maybe meters per hour. I'm not sure. This right here is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best ways to go back and get your loot quick on an island. Always keep it on your hotbar. Items on your hotbar do not drop. When you die, it's just going to be all of the items that's in your inventory that does. So if you die and you have death penalty on, a hotbar down here stays. But these here, I think you lose your armor until you get back to it. But I mean, still, either way, as long as you have stuff on your hotbar, you can easily just keep your ammo right here. If you're not sure if you're gonna last, so you have ammo when you go back in. And yeah, so makes for an easy, quick grab and go getter. You enjoy Sunkenland, you enjoy the building aspect, but you don't do a bunch of raiding, so you're limited on the amount of blueprints that you have currently, right? If this sounds like you, maybe this will help. The chests are gonna be the way to go. On the previous versions, you unlocked everything by trading the materials at research bench, but from here and in the past, they've kind of started doing this less and less and made it to where you need to go and unlock, go and raid enemies and get to chests that unlock blueprints. So if you're ever looking for where you should go next, keep an eye out for the little bubbles that are floating around. Kind of see some in the back right here to the left, and you can see some over here behind the trees. So these are going to be unopened chests that are waiting for you to come and loot them on these islands or underwater. It will look like the same with the bubbles, but underwater, like that right there. So unfortunately, raiding the islands is the only way to get better blueprints and such, except for the reinforced iron blueprint to be able to build using the iron ores that I mentioned previously in this video. This is only unlockable at the trader. So you go to the trader, have some items worth value, and trade for the blueprint. I can't remember off the top of my head how much it costs, so just be prepared with how much you take. Anyway, so next up, you want to claim all of the islands. You just don't want to see any red anywhere, and that is your big, you know, big goal that you have, because everything, you want to explore it all and see it all and whatnot and claim it for yourself. What you're gonna do is you're gonna clear some enemies. After you clear the enemies, you're gonna want to get this right here. So you're gonna need the faction flag, and for that you're gonna need the scrap metal spear, and for that one you're gonna need the wooden spear. So start off with the wooden spear, you just need 10 wood. After that, you need to be able to have some 10 scrap, 3 components to make up the scrap metal spear. And then you go here, and once you have that and 2 cloth, you can easily just go ahead and build this up. And it even tells you in the little description here that this is the one for the purpose of occupying it. So, you know, big difference between this and use record locations and as coordinates. For the purpose of occupying, go ahead, you just build that up, place it down, bada bing, bada boom. Bob is your uncle, and that island is now yours. Enemies will not respawn whenever you have occupied an island. I did it myself here at Small Rock because I liked the easy access to ores right here. Occupy an island keeps enemies from respawning. If you don't want this and you want enemies to continue respawning, because after a while, once all enemies are completely annihilated, all islands are yours, like you've completed it, well done, but then it's gonna just kind of be like, now what? What's next? So that sounds like, you know, a thing. At any point in time, if you go and just dismantle or unbuild your flag off an island, it's gonna unoccupy it. So I believe in the past it returns the island ownership status back to who it was prior. I actually have not tried that myself to see what happens. Let's try that out real quick. So here we go. So, yep, it completely reverts it back to, as you saw in the top right-hand corner, the old faction that had it previously. So you can easily go back and change it to where there's enemies to take on again, or not. If you just, you know, you get that far, you get all the islands claimed and such like that. And then just kind of get bored and start, you know, building, which nothing's wrong with that at all. But then you build up and you're just like, I don't know what to do now. You know, I kind of want to have something to fight again. Well, then just take down that flag. That's all it takes. There you go. So, after that, next up, you've placed an item down, but you don't think after placing it that you like the way that it looked. This sounds like you. Hopefully this tip helped. So, come over here and you can make a packing box right here. It only takes 8 wood. This is available to you pretty early on. It even tells you in the description what you can do. This thing puts an item in your backpack and lets you place it again. So this has always been a prompt. It's going to ask you, are you sure you want to pack it up? Just go ahead and do it. You'll see in the bottom right hand corner it showed rug. I still got the rug back. You know, it's mine. It just shows that to guarantee that you are actually in fact putting the item in the inventory that you are wanting to do so with. Right? And there you go. Easy, quick, and peasy to go ahead and just remodel, redo bases, pack away things. You can pack up anything except for the walls, floors, foundations, things like that. But everything else is seen kind of as a decoration, basically. So you can just boop and pack it up and then put it back wherever you want. If you're ever interested about electricity stuff, I would recommend just checking out the Discord. I'm not the best with explaining that at all, but you need to start at the very end with wiring and then meet at the hub. Like the hub should be, usually it's the hub first going to the, no, I recommend starting at the very end and bringing it to the hub for placing wires. But that's my only tip with that. You get a broken gun and you know, maybe you're new to the game or anything like that. And you're just thinking, oh man, what am I supposed to do with a broken gun? You know? Well, so there's this option here. You can come down here, unlock the advanced firearms workshop. So this is what you're going to want to unlock. And the reason why I brought up power before bringing up this is because this table does need power to be able to be used. The reason why, though, is because of this right here. So you're going to place guns in here to be dismantled even further, and you get a chance at getting different parts of the gun to then be reconstructed, right? So we just got a magazine and a basic stocks, and then you can come over here on the spray side and you can look at all of the different options of guns that you can build. Well, it has like the just base stats right here underneath, right? So if you have something in mind that you want to more focus on and things like that, look through these. Mouser, pistol, just ignore. And then if you find one that If you don't have a lot of parts or anything, what I recommend to do in the very start, what I did, is just going off of whatever I'm able to assemble from what broken guns I'm given, and then just go ahead and either mount the pieces as they're in your inventory. They have to be in your inventory to be able to do so. Or you can build these pieces as well if you have the blueprint for the gun piece unlocked. That's the biggest key. If you don't have the blueprint unlocked, it's just going to show you that mount with the blueprint not discovered, right? But if you have it in your inventory, you can still use it. But if you have the blueprint unlocked, you can go ahead and go through here and use up the materials to handcraft it as well to be able to then mount it. And then at the very end of it, you're given your brand new gun. And really up your chance on being able to survive against the waves of enemies that are always in Sunkenland. Little iron axe thing. Iron axe action. The one hit for one tree. That's kind of crazy. It's pretty great, but if they're back to back, you know, definitely want to have your stamina up and be slept with a full stamina bar. If you don't sleep and your stamina bar starts at about half, you're kind of a little screwed. Whereas with the machete here, 5, okay, so this one, it took about 6 swings, but still, that stamina bar did not drop very quickly, nothing like that. That is my tips and trick. A lot of the game is exploring, 100%. You're gonna explore, and want to find things. There's a lot of stuff above water, there's a lot of stuff underwater. But at the end of the day, like, if you need help finding resources because you've looked around and just don't see them, like, pop in the Discord and people will try and be as helpful as possible. But I'm telling you now that it's a lot of exploring and learning the maps and learning the areas and things like that. So it's just something to be aware of ahead of time. So, and that is it, I believe. Thank you for joining me and hope you have a great rest of your night. Salutations, my friends, and enjoy Sunkenland or other games. And that's it.